Okay, today we are going to be taking HTML tutorials for beginners, a crash course on HTML basics. And in this introduction, we're going to be dealing with titles, how to create titles, HTML, headings, and content. My name is Vincent Hope, your instructor for this class. So, as an introduction, we're going to be learning about the basics of HTML. So we're going to ask ourselves, what is HTML? HTML is actually called Hypertext Markup Language. It's actually a way of displaying information in web pages in your web browser. Behind every web page, there is an HTML, CSS, and JavaScript code. Now let's take an example. I go to my browser. This is my browser. Here I click it. You see my Google browser. Now let me go to the BBC web page. Let's say BBC website, BBC, and I press enter. Now I have BBC website here. Let me just take the page on sports. I right click and I open it on a new web page. Now this is my new web page. I open it here. Now from here you can see, if I see my mouse pointer here, if I right click and I come back to view source, page source, I click view page source. Now if you watch carefully, you discover there are some codes behind this page. Now these are the codes behind the page that we have just opened. You can see some codes here. Now you may not understand it now, but we'll go ahead and continue. So that is, every web page has a code behind it, and that is what we are trying to learn. So let's go back to our teaching. So we come back here now. So we have talked about the code. We have seen the codes now. So you said you can display HTML with browsers like Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, and Opera. We're going to see that as we continue. You can also use code editors like Notepad++, Visual Code Studio, Visual Studio Code, and Sublime to modify content. Now let's open the one we're going to be using for our practice. We're going to be using Notepad++. It's a common video code editor used. So below I have video, so I'm opening now. As I click, now it has opened. Let me click no here. Now see, this is, let me bring it in within the screen so that you can see it. I click it. Now it's within your record screen. You can see this is Notepad++. This is the application. You have file edit and the rest of it. So this is how simple it is. So this is where you enter your code. So let me exit it. I just click file. I click or I simply just go to close here. So I've closed it. So we'll be talking about that when we start the real coding. Now we come down. Now HTML, we are on this point here now. HTML coding is made up of tags. This is very important. It's made up of tags, which is a special text you use to mark up or distinguish different parts of your web page. We're going to be saying that. These tags tell the browser to display whatever is inside them. Inside, remember, whatever you're going to be coding is going to be inside the tag. It tells to display what's inside them in a specific way. Let's go down and check what we're talking about. So these tags always have an opening and closing tag. For example, if you are using the tag B, you see the open bracket here and the close bracket here. That B must be closed with another B, for example, which you will understand what it means later, with a slash. So this first B here is the opening tag. This one is the opening tag, while this one is now the closing tag. So I hope you understand that. So we're going to be continuing. Now, when the browser loads the HTML page, the tags don't show up. So whatever you put in between the tags is what is going to be displayed. The tags themselves do not show up when it is displayed on the HTML page. So now let's get into the real deal. Let's come to types of tags. The first type of tag we are going to be I'm dealing with is the doc type HTML. This is used to tell the browser that this is an HTML document file. It does not require a closing tag because it's not surrounding any text. I hope you understand that. We're going to see an example. Note, we are using HTML5. There was previously HTML4. So let's open a simple document that will display this tag so you can understand what I'm saying. So now let me open a document here. Let me start with this document here. I double click it. Now you can see it has a blank screen here. But let me right click it and click view the page source. When I view the page source, now let me expand. Okay, view the page source. Let me see whether I can bring it individually down. Okay, fine. I brought it down now individually. Now if you watch carefully, you can see that we have on the first line of this text, you have doc type HTML. That means you are telling the code editor that whatever you are typing inside the code editor is an HTML document. I hope you understand that. Now, let's make progress. I open my Word document again. Now, so I've explained that. Now let's come to HTML. You can see now the HTML tag, you have HTML, the first one, it has an opening tag, and it also have here, you also have a closing tag. So tells the browser, which could be Chrome or Firefox or any browser, that everything inside the HTML, this tag is HTML. Note, every other tag are contained inside the HTML tag. What does that mean? So now let me open the browser again that we used. Now you can see inside the browser, you can see here, we talked about the HTML. Okay, in this context, it's not showing clearly. So let me open another file that will show that. Let me open some of them and see. And let me get the source code for this, view source code. Okay, beautiful. So look at this one, at this example now. We have HTML on top, which is a tag. We have body tag here. Then we have other tags, which we'll explain in a short while. Now, usually this tag is supposed to be closed. You have the opening tag here. At the last line, you also have the closing tag. But this one in this example is not showing, but you are supposed to have the closing tag. So I hope you are following. Now, let's come back to the Microsoft also. So we have that. Now let's come to the heading tag, which we'll see an example. We have H1 and closing tag, which is H1 is the opening tag / H1 is the closing tag. Heading tags are used to display titles and subtitles inside a web page. It ranges from H1 to H6, displaying different text styles in different sizes. So let me scroll down. So with H1 having the highest priority and the rest displaying text in smaller font sizes. Usually websites don't use all titles or headings or titles, just H1 for what? Title, H2 for subtitle, H3 for sometimes for what? For section titles. Now let me come back to the code I opened earlier on. So I bring it up. So I open. Now if you watch carefully, you discover that this is head. This is the body head 1. You see ISP computers, H1. H2 you see you are welcome, H2. Now H3 using JavaScript operators, H3, H4 using JavaScript operators. Now we're going to see, let's see how this is displayed. Let me click another with the original file, look at it. Now you see it. So this is ISP computers here. ISP computers is on H1. You can see it is boldly high, boldly it's the font size is larger, H1 here. Then we click you are welcome, which is the next one. That one you see is on H2. Now if you watch carefully, you can see that the size of this is bigger than the size of this. So this is on H1, this is on H2, the next one is on H3, the next one is on H4, the next one is on H5, the next one is on H6. So I use that. So you can see now, if we come back to the code itself, you see it, HTML, body, H1, H2, H3, H4, H5. So you can see the difference. This is the output. This is the code behind it. Output, code behind it. Now let me take the time so that you can see it. So in case you want, because you have to start coding. So HTML, body. Then we have H1, ISP computers. H2, you are welcome. H3, using JavaScript of Twitter. So you can put anything in between. So this is the first set of head tags. Now we are making progress. Now let's continue. We now have the body tag. The body tag, this contains the main content of the web page. We're going to be seeing that as we make progress. Okay. Then we have also what is called the title tag. This is used to set the title of a website. Usually you find it on the top of the web page, the favicon of the web page, the favicon of the web page, or the let me explain that. So if I say that, you may not get it. So let me go down. So I open this and I double click this. This, you see where I put lesson 1 here, title, I double click it. Now I double click this. Now if you watch this very well, you discover that here is written at the heading, the heading is called my new page. My new page. That's the heading. Now this one, the heading of this one is called what? Index. It's called index. But here it's called my new page. Now, how did they arrive at this? Now look at the code behind this. Right click and I click view source code. We're going to still program it. If you watch very carefully, you see the doc, HTML, heading. Then in between the heading and the heading, you have title, my new page, and closing tag here, title. If we scroll down here, these are other tags which we will explain later, but let's go down here. What you discover that at this point you have the closing header, the closing tag for the header. So we come back here, so we put it here. Are we following? So now you see the heading, the title. So that's what gives this heading, this page is heading my new page. We're going to do some work. We're going to program. I'm just giving you an introduction. Now let's come down here. Now we also have the paragraph tag. This tag is used to separate your web page content into blocks or sections. You will use the lorem ipsum text. What is the lorem ipsum text? It's a set of dummy placeholder text used in publishing and design to fill in blank spaces to see how it works. What does that mean? Now, let me explain the lorem ipsum text. It's a set of dummy text. Now, if I go to my browser, and I click, let me go back to my Google browser. Okay, this is my Google browser, and I type for, and I go down, let me bring it down so that you can see it. Okay, now it's inside the screen recording, and I type lorem ipsum. You see, it says lorem ipsum, and you press enter. You can see it is a general text just used for coding. So let me just pick one. If I open this one here, right click, open it. I click here. You can see lorem ipsum. Now you see the text. It's a bunch of jargon text. You only use it to add content to your web page when you are just to fill in the contents. Then you can now replace them later. I hope we are making progress. So that is about that. So that's the lorem ipsum text. So we come back. we come back to our text, which is what we're discussing. So when you run the program, the browser adds some space between the context separated by the paragraph text. We're going to see all that. We're going to do practicals of all this. Now, we also have the break tag. The break tag is used to create space between content. The more break tags, the line tag, the line spacing, it does not need to have a closing tag because it's not surrounded by text. They are also called void elements because they have no content. We're going to see how to use each and every one of them. So what we need to do now, I've given you an introduction. Now we have to do the practical of this class. So the next thing we need to do now is to open our browser. Let's open our Notepad HTML document, our Notepad++ application code editor. I open it. This is my Notepad code editor. Okay. Now I will start with the first lesson, which I've already created just to help so that we'll conclude the fast. We will do it to be faster since we are teaching online. So let me go back to the codes. I'll start with the lesson 1. I double click it. Now if I double click the lesson 1, I bring it down. Now you discover that there is nothing inside the browser, nothing inside the browser or the page. So now there's still a code. Now look at the top here, you see that my new page. Now I right click and I click view page source. Now, even that it is not showing and it still has some content. It has document HTML, heading, then the title, my new page. Now let me copy this text. I copy it. I'll leave the last one. I right click, I copy. I go to the code editor, which is here, and I paste it there. You can see the code editor there. I can also now add the closing text for the header. I type header. You can see anytime you type the code, the suggested code comes out, you close it. So I have this. So now I'm going to save it. I click file. I click what? Save. When I click file, click save, I have created a folder where I'm going to store the information. So I go to that folder now. It's on my desktop. I double click my desktop. This is the folder HTML class. I double click it and I call this lesson 1. Now it's an HTML file. I must put .html or else it will not read as an HTML. Then I also have to select the file type as HTML. Now hypertext. So I scroll down and look for HTML. Look at it here, hypertext markup file, and I click it. So the file is here, and I click what? Save. Now this file is saved as lesson 1. Now let me go back and retrieve it. Now I leave here this environment. I bring down my windows. Now this is my folder here. I bring it inside the screen. Now I double click it. You can see here, you can see that we have lesson 1 here. I open it. Now I bring it down. You can see that, let me bring it down. You can see that the name of the page is my new page. Now let me do something. I will go back and change it in the code editor. So I click on the code editor. I change this name to let me say HTML 1.0. HTML 1.0, and I save it. I've saved it. I minimize the window screen, and I come here where my HTML class is. I double click it, open it again. You can see lesson 1. By the time I open it, you can see now if I bring this screen down, this window down, you can see the title has changed to HTML 1.0 because I effected the change in that lesson. Are we following? So that is number one. Now we go back. So we're going to do an other codings. Let's do something. So we go to the second lesson. We now go to the headings. Now we double click the headings. Now, if I open the screen, you can see what we have at the headings. These are all the code. So now let's right click and view the source code. We view the source page. Now you can see all the content here. I'm going to copy it. Right click it, copy. I go back to my code editor, which is this. It's still here. Now I paste the content here in this page. Now I remember I copied also. I can't have two doc.ms, so I delete this. I delete this. So then I delete this. Then I have this other content here. I click save. I minimize my code editor. I go back to my original lesson 1, double click it, and I open it. Double click it, it's opening behind. So look at it now. This is my content. Now if I bring it down, you can see now this is HTML 1.0. I've added those contents. So we have heading ISP1, and this for H1, you are welcome, H2, JavaScript, H3, and you see the rest of it now. So where is the code? Let me come back to the code so I can put the code side by side. Now look at my coding here. So you can see document type, the heading, the title is H1.0. Look at it here. HTML, the body. Now H1, the tag H1 is for ISP computers. Then you are welcome, H2, using JavaScript, H3, H4. You can see the different types. Okay, let me do something from the code editor. I change the fourth one, which is H4. I don't call it using JavaScript operators. Let me change it to just testing the code. Let me type just testing the code. Yes, on H4. I save it. Now watch what happens. I save it, just testing the code. I come back here, or I even come here on this code editor here, and I press enter to refresh it. You can see now this H4 has changed to just testing the code. Are you following? So this is how your code editor works with your browser. You can see that there. Then finally for this lesson, what we're going to do is we're going to take, because we have so much ground to cover, so let's take the other lesson, which is the content. Then we double click it. We take this content. You can see we've added some other things apart from using JavaScript, or without checking the content of my web page. So if I right click it and I click views page source code, you can see now we have stopped the H3 here using JavaScript option. Now we have introduced something else, which is the paragraph tags. The paragraph tag, we put the B tag in front. This B represents bold. So checking the content of my web page, I close the tag bold, the paragraph tag. Then we have another one. This one is for italics. So all I will do now is just to copy this two here, Control C, or right click and copy. If you copy it, then I go to my code editor. Just below this one, I press enter and I paste it. You can see it here. When I paste it and I save it, this is my notepad, I save it. I come back to my HTML1. You can see it's not showing that one yet, but when I click on it and I press enter, you can see the new content. This one is bold, check my spelling. This one is italicized. I hope you are following. Now this is what has been done. Then we can add more content. If we go down to the text, have more content. If we double click this, you see there we have added something new. We've added a highlight, an underline, and something new in between this. So let me view the page source code. I view the source code here. Then you can see where it's added. This is the italic stops here. Then we have the mark. That was what gave us the yellow coloration. Checking the content of my video, you are marking that line. Then the underline, you see the tag, the paragraph tag with the underline tag, which starts with a U. Then this with a slash U. So I will copy all these ones. Yes, from here, I copy it. I copy down. Sorry. I copy down to this one. I right click it. I copy it. I go back to my code editor and I bring it down. I paste it under and I paste under. You can see I added 3 lines, the marking and the checking the content of the web page and welcome to this. This means emboss my /m. You will see the difference of what it makes. Brand new website. This will also be, this one emboss makes the character new, strong. So let's save it. Reduce this. Come back to our HTML 1.0. Look at it. Click on this one. I press enter because it will refresh. You can see here it has adjusted. It has put the markup. It has put the checking the content, which is the underline. Now welcome to my was emboldened. Yes, my new website. To my new, see new here, new and new website. This will be my new homepage. If you check what it puts there, what we put there under the paragraph text. Let's see. Let's come bring it a bit to the side. You see that my new homepage, the strong was here. So my new, it was placed, the new was placed between strong. So look at how the effect, my new homepage here was bolded. So you can see how this all comes together. You code in the code editor and it shows up on the browser page. So this, we come to the end of the first lesson of the HTML class. I hope you have learned something today. So for more interesting videos like this, please subscribe, hit the notification button, like, share, and drop your comments. Is there any area we have not covered, or what you do not understand, or a new area you want us to cover? Please, we'd like to hear from you. So thank you for watching. Do have a blessed day.